All right. Come on in. Today we're going to be talking about stop blaming the hustle or stop blaming burnout on hustle. I want to tell you what that really is because it's really not you hustling that has you feeling burnt out. It's actually your broken spiritual connection that's draining you. And so I'm going to tell you three things. There's three categories I'm going to go into. I'm going to go into what you're probably feeling right now. I'm going to go into what you probably are experiencing right now, because those are two different things. And then I'm going to support you in telling you the next thing that you need to do. Okay? Because that's very, very important. So, for those who do not know me, my name is L. Antoinette. I'm a feminine mastery architect. And what I do is that I support my amazing clients who are women entrepreneur. Well, I should say entrepreneur women. But I'll say that I support entrepreneur women in mastering their emotions, which supports them in making more revenue. So I help them turn emotional overwhelm into mastery and basically into money. Because what a lot of people don't realize is if you were able to take what it is that you feel on the inside of you and actually transmute that energy, you actually could create more income for yourself. That is something that I have done for the last 3 years as a business owner. I've built my business from the ground up to six figures. I've supported my clients in going from six figures to multi six figures and from five figures to six figures and all that great stuff. And so my position and my place is to support women in those areas of healing so that they actually can master their emotions, actually, turn that overwhelm, that anxiety into actually cash flow, because you really, really can. Okay. So it's so important and so vital for you to realize that you're not really burnt out. Okay. There's a disconnect and you need to get back plugged into source so that you can get recharged, and once you get recharged, then you're able to do the things that you need to do. So the first thing I'm going to ask that you do is send this to someone. If you know someone that has a business or that has a side hustle, okay, right now, if you have a full-fledged business or if you have a side hustle going on and you have something that's happening and you're exhausted and you're tired because you're really trying to get money, make sure that you send this live to them. I am going to post this as well other places, but I don't know when. But this live is going to be very, very powerful. It's really going to support some people and really getting some understanding of where their burnout is actually coming from. Because a lot of us think that our burnout is coming from, oh, I'm working a lot, or my burnout is coming from, oh, I just picked up this new side hustle, or I started doing this and taking care of my mom and all these things, and this is why I'm burnt out. No, 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 no. That's really not why you're burned out. And so I'm going to help you get to the root of your burnout so that you can get the support that you need. Because right now, with everything that's happening in the world, you don't want to be exhausted. You don't want to be so exhausted that you need someone else to think for you and to choose for you. And this is the society that we live in currently. We live in a society that, is positioning us for that. So it's so vital and so important for you to be aware but not consumed with the things that you are seeing on the news and seeing everywhere all over the world and what's happening. It's very important for you to be grounded and centered so that you can stay focused and do the things that you need to do. Because guess what? Nothing is going to get any cheaper. Nothing is going to get any better. Nothing gets better. You get better. And when you get better, things around you have no choice but to get better. If you are the one in your friend group who knows that something is off in the world and you're really trying to figure it out, but everybody else is, kind of just escaping and being too detached and, they just not really paying attention to what's happening, but you can feel that something is off and that something is wrong and that something is coming, okay? Then this is the live that is for you. Because if you're feeling that, that is a warning letting you know you need to go into the next room. You might have to leave some people behind. And I know a lot of people are scared of that because you don't know what the unknown is, but I'm going to help support you in that too. Because this live is not only going to support you in stopping blaming, hustling, or people, or any type of external experience for the reason that you're burned out. It's also going to support you in decreasing a lot of that worry and that anxiousness by letting you know exactly where it's coming from. See, the reason why we don't deal with things is because we don't know how to deal with things and we don't know how to approach them. The reason why a lot of women struggle to lose weight, as a woman who's lost almost 100 pounds, the reason why women struggle to lose weight is because a lot of times they don't really know what to do, or they have not found the right methodology that actually works for them. They're trying a whole bunch of different things, but they haven't found the one that works for them. They haven't found the right meal plan. They haven't found the right exercise method. They haven't found the right type of routine they need to sleep. It's not because you don't have the desire. It's because you don't know. And one of my gifts, and one of the reasons why I am here on this earth, is to bring forth awareness. And so what I'm going to do for you today is to tell you where this burnout is actually coming from. Because it's a plot and it's a plan to get you so exhausted that you don't care that other people get to make decisions and choices for you. Okay? So let's stop blaming burnout. We're going to get to the root of what it is and what's happening, all right? So again, for those who don't know who I am, my name is Elle Antoinette. I'm a feminine mastery architect, and I support my amazing clients who are entrepreneurial women. I support them in turning their emotional overwhelm literally into mastery and also into revenue, okay? Because your business needs money. A lot of women are out here starting businesses, but you don't have any money. And if you don't have any money in your business and you are constantly working and doing everything and doing all that you can in XYZ, but nothing is happening for you, then there may be a disconnect. And 9 times out of 10, that disconnect is normally spiritually. That's why you feel so drained. See, what happens is, and let me support you with the order. Hey, Kendra, my love. Let me support you with how this goes, how you actually become burned out, and how people have these nervous breakdowns, okay? It starts with a depletion of your spiritual energy. And that happens when you get disconnected spiritually from who you truly are. That means that there's an internal disconnect. There's something that happens within self that disconnects you from your authentic nature. This often happens during childhood. This often happens, during there are a multitude of things that can pull you away from your identity in that type of space. Okay? But once that ends up happening, then you begin to lose control of your mind and your thought process. So this is how you become faithless and you start overthinking everything. You start overanalyzing everything. Because your spiritual aspect, there's a disconnection there. So because of that disconnection, you suffer with mental overwhelm. And because you suffer with that mental overwhelm, it travels down to your emotions, and now you have emotions, or you cannot regulate yourself in a way to where you can actually articulate what you want. You find yourself acting out instead of actually articulating what it is that you want for yourself, because you struggle to deal with your emotions. You're one of those type of people who say things like, I can't help the way I feel, when in reality you can help the way you feel. You just don't have control in your mind. And you don't have control in your mind because you're not rooted spiritually. And these things manifest physically in the form of panic attacks, anxiety, and multiple psychosomatic illnesses such as IBS, and all of these things can cause issues with your menstrual cycle, all the way down to where it can impact and push you further into the area of heart disease and cardiovascular illnesses. Okay, so when I tell you burnout is really not a joke and it's not a game, but the way that you really stop yourself from burning out is by understanding where you need to pour and understanding where everything starts. See, if you are just going to therapy and you have no spiritual rooting, that's why you can't keep up what's going on when it comes down to what your therapist is telling you in therapy, because you still have no spiritual footing, you have no spiritual grounding, and you have to understand that you are a spirit being having a human experience. And see, a lot of y'all are trying to solve spiritual problems from a human place, and you just cannot do that. And burnout is a spiritual problem. And the reason why they can't tell you that is because they don't want you to really heal yourself. Because if you heal yourself, then you won't depend on their systems and you won't necessarily need them. So they don't want you to know that you actually have a spiritual problem. They just try to give you a solution for the so-called physical symptom, which actually is a result of that spiritual problem. And if you don't believe me, really start paying attention to how your emotions, hey my love, impact the way your body operates. There's something I used to say all of the time: belief impacts your biology, and biology influences the way you behave. If you believe the diagnosis that you're given at the doctor that you're about to leave the earth, If you immediately take that in, that belief, guess what? It's going to impact your biology, because you might, most likely may have an anxiety attack, or you might start screaming and crying profusely. Your body is going to have a reaction to that belief. Your biology is responding to what is allowed in your brain, because the brain is running things in a lot of ways. So if you allow that to enter your mind, that this is your destiny, this is your outcome, the body is going to respond to that, and you start behaving a certain kind of way based on that belief. So it's very important in this season, again, for you to be aware of the things that are happening in the world, but you don't be consumed by the things that are actually happening in the world. It's a huge difference. Okay? So again, today I'm talking about, stop blaming burnout on the hustle, because it's not the hustle, it's your broken spiritual connection that's literally draining you. And so I'm going to support you in, talking about the things you may be feeling, the things that you probably are experiencing right now, and what actually needs to happen so that you can shift that reality, because it really needs to shift. Okay? Let me pull this up on my notes. Okay, here we go. I cut one piece off, so I need to put it back. Let me know in the comments. Put a 1 in the comments if you can hear me clearly. And also, let me know where y'all are watching from. Please and thank you. Put in the comments where you're watching from as I correct my iPad. Why is it doing this? Don't get on my nerves today. Apple trying to make me buy another one. I'm not. At least not right now. Hey Nashville, hey Atlanta. Atlanta, how are y'all? How is everything there with that chemical explosion? I've been wanting to ask someone how things have been, because that's a lot. And I don't know if people understand that's a lot. That's a whole lot. Oh no. I'm going to have to fix that later. I'm not going to worry about it now. It's sunny right now, but Florida traffic is already coming in. Yes, my prayers are going out to Florida. That's a lot. Let me tell y'all something. That's a lot. And then they got stuff coming back to back to back to back to back, seems like. Because it's something else that's out there brewing, I believe, that I saw something on the other side. It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. That's why I say it's really important right now to be spiritually rooted, so that you can be mentally grounded and solid, so that you can be emotionally sound and make decisions that are emotionally sound right now, because it's a lot going on. It's a whole lot. All right, let me go ahead and get into this. I'm glad that you're well, though, because that was a lot that was going on there, too. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and get into stop blaming burnout on the hustle. It's your broken spiritual connection that's draining you. Girl, water's so unstable. Water's so unstable. That's saying something. It's really, you got to really pay attention when the elements are crying out or being manipulated with. You really got to pay attention to that. Okay? All right. So here's kind of like when you're suffering from burnout, here's something that you will, or some areas or some aspects you may feel, right? Burnout, like I always tell people all the time, it's a spiritual issue. It's not so much of a mental issue or an emotional issue. It's literally a spiritual issue that's happening. And here are some of the things that you may feel in the space of burnout. You may feel disconnected from God. You may feel like you can't receive or unable to hear or receive divine guidance or support at this time. Like, that's one of the first things that you may notice. You may overthink all the time, which basically means that you have a lot of anxiety and mental chatter that keeps you up. You're not even able to sleep because the mental chatter is just so loud. Or you close your eyes and try to sleep, and it's like your brain is continuing to go. Okay? You also may feel unstable emotions. You may feel, or you may act out impulsively, or you may just struggle to maintain balance. This impulsivity can look like you spending ridiculously. This impulsivity can look like you wanting to soothe an emotion with food. This could look like you popping off. This could look like you being just easily triggered. So this is what the unstable emotions may look like, and this may happen when you're burned out. You may experience blocked creativity, okay, which means that you're unable to create. So if you're a person who is a writer, you may suffer with writer's block. Hey love, if you are a person who, you're a creativepreneur and you just may feel like you're unable to create products or services right now, there's just something seems to be off. That's because your womb energy is stifled. Okay, and so when we get in the area of your womb energy being stifled, that means that you're creatively drained. Okay, so when we get to the space of where we're disconnected, and I just want you to pay attention to this pattern. When we're in a space where we're disconnected from source, we're overthinking, our emotions are unstable, we have blocked creativity, then we begin to do things like become codependent. Hear me out. And the reason why you become codependent and you start looking for external forces and sources, resources to fill your cup in the areas that you're not filling your own cup in, okay? So if you have a significant other, or if you're married, or even if you have friends, this is where you begin to overload your friends and start blaming your friends for not supporting you. See, this is what happens with business owners who just start businesses and they start complaining and whining about how their friends and their family are not supporting their businesses, when their friends and their family are not their ideal clients, and they don't realize that. But because they're so they're so overwhelmed with the money they spent to start the business, they're so overwhelmed with, the idea of going into business and, so attached to the outcome of getting money that you're operating from the frequency of desperation. And people can feel that. And because people can feel that, they're repelled by your energy. They're not only repelled by your energy, but they're just like, they're completely turned off. They're turned off so bad by your energy that they don't support you. So therefore you don't get the support that you're looking for. But the reason why you don't get the support that you're looking for is because in all actuality, you are not actually supporting yourself at all. You won't even fill your own cup spiritually. I'm sorry, y'all, I broke a nail. I was trying to fix it. You won't fill your own cup spiritually. You won't fill your own cup mentally. You won't fill your own cup emotionally. But then you will hold the people you are in relationship with hostage. You will hold them hostage via your guilt tripping. You will hold them hostage via your tantrums. You will hold them hostage, with all of these things because you want support and attention. But the reason why you don't have support and attention is because you're not giving it to yourself first. Okay? So because you're so disconnected from source, because you're consistently overthinking, because your emotions are unstable, because you can't create, because your creativity is blocked, because you're so codependent on other people making you happy, that you lack execution, which means you procrastinate on what it is that you're supposed to be doing. And that positions you to waste so much time. So much time. You're burnt out because you're disconnected from the one that created you. You're burnt out because you're consistently overthinking. You're burnt out because your emotions are all over the place. You're burnt out because you can't create a new reality for yourself and you hate the one that you're living in right now. You're so burnt out because the people you're in a relationship with aren't supporting you, or aren't being there for you, or aren't doing what it is that you want them to do in this season. And you're so burnt out that you are not completing and following through on the very things that you begged God to give you. And you are literally playing with it like you got all the time in the world to sit back and play these type of games. And you don't. You are burnt out. See, let's keep it real. Let's talk about spiritual burnout. Let's talk about it. You're burnt out. Maybe you, and this happened to me. You have a spiritual awakening. You're on fire spiritually. You are, manifesting at a rapid rate. All these things are happening. You know, your spiritual gifts are heightening. All these things are happening. But at some point, something changed. I'm going to tell you how my journey, how I burned out spiritually, and how it happened. And I tell you this to support you in you understanding yourself, to see if this is happening to you, to get yourself back on track, because you don't have time to be spiritually burnt out. That's how society wants you. They want you spiritually burnt out, that you will accept any type of form of look-like spiritual solution. And see, I'm here to help you fill your cup back up. But the first thing you're going to have to do is deconstruct from everything you think you knew so that you can reconstruct, okay? Everything you thought you knew around spirituality, because you don't know anything. None of us know anything. Even with the wisdom that I have, I still know nothing at all. I speak what the Most High gives me to speak. It's not because I'm just so wise. I'm wise with my experiences, but I don't have all wisdom. Please understand that. So things that I say, especially when I'm online and women are saying, oh my God, I said this, you know, to God in a dream, or I wrote this down. I don't know y'all business. That's how you know it's not me, right? So let me put you on game on how I got spiritually burnt out, right? So when I entered this, my whole business, and this is excellent for people who are believers and those who have been called to start the businesses that they started and that they are struggling in those businesses. I'm going to support you with this because you may be spiritually burnt out. Pastors and preachers and people who operate in ministry don't even realize that they're spiritually burnt out. And they are getting up there running on roboticism and fumes. And the Most High is not going to be pleased with that. Okay? So let me just go ahead and give you the game. So when I had my spiritual awakening, I was not healthy in my mind to the point to where I didn't even want to be here, right? I wasn't going to myself because I was a bit too vain for that, because I wouldn't want people to think I was weak, because I prided myself on being the strong person, you know, the person who could always handle it, the one with all the solutions and all those things, right? And so when my best friend passed away, I started to get these thoughts like, you know, if you just want to stop, I would talk to God and be like, if you just want to stop my heart, like, it's okay. Like, I'm okay with that. Like, I was, these are things that I was saying, and the things that I began to think were scaring me. So because I was raised and reared in God, and I'd say all the time, in every Bible my mother's ever given me, she always written down Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, which is trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding, and acknowledge Him in all of your ways, and He will direct your path. That is what came to me. So when Scripture tells you, if you are a parent, let me just put you on game. If you are a parent, it's very important that when you give your children lessons, attach it to Scripture, because that's how you're going to guarantee it never leaves them. I'm telling you what I know. And they can get out in these streets and start acting a fool. But if you instill in them, for them to understand and to know that the Creator is there with them, and to attach your lessons with Scripture to them, it will come to them when they are at the lowest of the lowest of the lowest of the low. They will remember who the Most High is. Plant those seeds, even if you think that they are not listening. So when my heart was broken like that, I just did what I knew to do, which was give God my heart. I said, hey, listen, you know, I want to know, I need you, because I'm scared of my own mind. And I've never thought like this. I've never felt this way. So I don't even understand this. So, but what I do know is that my mother has always said, if I come to you, that you would, and I acknowledge you, that you would show me what I need to be doing. You would show me where I need to be, right? And so, and I was real. I was like, I don't like reading Scripture. I don't understand it. Like, I need you to reveal yourself to me so that I can understand. So when I first came into my spiritual awakening, it was need-based. I'm going to tell you how it all flipped and changed. Okay? So it was need-based. So it started off with, I need you. Then it went to, I want to know you. Then it went to, this is a requirement. See how I start switching? So I'm going to show you how it got to the point of where I got to restlessness, where I was burnt completely out spiritually to where I didn't even want to talk to God no more. I didn't want to rap. And see, I can be honest and say that I didn't want to rap. I was frustrated. I don't want to talk to you. See, nobody wants to be honest and say these things, but you get to these points even as a person who is walking the spiritual journey. Because I started off, I need you. I want to know you. Now it's a requirement. Okay, I'm still good. Energy still vibing. I'm like, it's a requirement. Then the requirement became a routine. Then the routine became ritualistic. It became a ritual. See, it stopped being I need and I want to know you. It became a requirement. It became a routine. It became a ritual. I became a robot. It became robotic. And then I got restless. Because at that point, my spirituality was on autopilot. Autopilot. And you should never outsource your spirituality. You should never outsource your spirituality. You should never look outside of yourself for people to give you what it is that you are to give yourself. Because that's how you set yourself up for failure. That's how you set yourself up for disappointment. Okay? So I got completely spiritually burnt out because I became a robot, which made me restless. And I became so restless and I kept trying to go in that restlessness, and I started resenting. See, when you get restless, you start resenting. You can start resenting your business. You can start resenting what it is that you actually have been called to do. It happens to ministers, preachers. It happens to people every day. It happens to people on the regular every single day. When you become robotic in what it is that you are doing because you are burned out, you get restless and you literally become resentful. And when you become resentful and you sit in a space of resentfulness for a long period of time, that's when we start ruining the liver. That's when we start having issues with the menstrual cycle. That's when we start having issues in the area of creation. That's when we start having issues when it comes down to our liver, and then potentially our kidneys, and then potentially our heart. All of these things lead back to it. Burnout breaks your body down until it puts you in the ground. And it starts in the spirit. It ain't because you're doing the most. The issue is the training behind you why you're doing the most. It ain't because you're doing the most. The issue is the training behind you why you're doing the most. It ain't because you're doing the most. The issue is the training behind you why you're doing the most that keeps you being in space, that you keep doing this even though it's burning. Parents putting y'all in the ground because somebody told you honor your father and your mother, which is absolutely true. But see, your parents are manipulating you and they're not living by the code of scripture. It also tells you in scripture that parents don't provoke your children. But see, you don't know that because you don't dissect the code for yourself to understand it. So you let your parents play on your top. You let people play on your top. And then you do it in the name of being a good Christian. And in reality, it's not. And don't even get me started on the things that we love to say in the name of Christ that actually are not that. Because nowhere in scripture does it tell you to be a doormat. Nowhere in scripture does it tell you to burn yourself out to oblivion. There's nowhere that tells you to do that. Society tells you to do that. Society tells you that you have to prove your value. And I just talked about this in the Sacred Feminine League on Monday. Y'all gotta really start paying attention to how society disconnects you from your spiritual nature, because they know that's your real power. So they disconnect you so you can burn out. Okay? Society tells you, hey my love, society tells you that in order for you to get this position at my company, or in order for me to hire you, for you to work with me, you have to be qualified. I have to see your qualifications before I'm willing to hire you or to bring you in. You have to prove your value to me. That's what society teaches you. The Most High says, I call you, then I qualify you. I need you to see how they flip-flop the pattern to get you disconnected from your spiritual self, because that means you're disconnected from the power source. And if you're disconnected from the power source, you begin to make external forces your source. And when those systems and sources crumble, then you crying, trying to go back to the main source. Your burnout is a spiritual problem. It ain't because you just took on being a caregiver to your mother. It's not because you just took on your sister's children. It's not because you're working all these hours to do this. It's not because you work in 9 to 5 and you got a side hustle. That's why you're exhausted. You're exhausted because you have the mindset that you have to work 2 jobs to be able to bring in big cash. See, that's why you're exhausted. That spiritual belief, that training that goes against your natural ability, that says that you have creative and witty inventions in your very being, according to Proverbs 8 and 12, meaning you got money inside you because you are money. It also says that you have gifts that will make room for you, but you don't believe that. You actually believe the people that tell you, you got to prove to me that you're worth me paying you pennies. Don't piss me off this morning, please. Because that's how we coming. That's how we thinking. You're not burned out because of what you're doing. You're burned out because of what you believe. And that's what needs to be checked. Checkmate. Let that digest and sizzle in your spirit for a second. It don't have nothing to do with what you're doing. It has to do with what you believe. That relationship ain't stressing you out. Let me get on y'all while I fix my nail, because I need to fix it because it's going to get on my nerves. But let me get you together real quick. That man ain't stressing you out. What's stressing you out, thank you my love for these gifts, is the fact that you believe that that's the last man on earth that's going to treat you like that, and that you sit there and stay and deal with that type of foolishness. See, the issue is your belief. The issue is not that that man dogging you out. The issue is that you allow yourself to be dogged out, and you need to ask yourself, why do you treat yourself like, why do you believe you're a dog? That man ain't burning you out. That man ain't wasting your time. That man ain't doing all that. Because a man can't do nothing if he don't have access to you. Huh? Well, how you doing all that and still got access? How? Especially in 2024, when the world is literally going to hell in a handbasket around you. Make it make sense. What we doing? Really? That man ain't stressing you out. Your mom ain't stressing you out. Your friends ain't stressing you out. That job ain't stressing you out. Thank you, my love. You not having no clients in your business ain't stressing you out. The fact that you ain't stepping into the fullness of your gift and your identity is why you don't have no money. That's your real issue. You're trying to be like everybody else. That's your real issue. That's why you burnt out. You burnt out because you're wearing a mask. You burnt out because you're code switching. You go in environments and you change your tone to please people. Are you insane? You do see, the Most High tells you that you're beautifully and wonderfully made, but society tells you do this and you'll be beautiful. You're burnt out because you're spiritually disconnected from your true self. That's your problem. That's your issue. So that's why you feel like that. That's why you feel disconnected from God. Well, let me tell you, this is why you feel like you can't receive divine guidance or support. This is why you feel anxiety and mental chatter that keeps you stuck. This is why you act out impulsively, struggling to maintain balance. This is why your womb energy is stifled and you're having creative issues and menstrual issues. Your creativity is drained. This is why you rely on men and your friends and everybody else to support you instead of leaning on your own inner strength. Oh, you don't have any. Okay. So, and this is why you continue to procrastinate and you have the inability to follow through. All why? Because you're spiritually burned out. You're welcome. You're spiritually burned out. Yeah. So let's talk about, now that we talk about what you feel, what you're probably feeling right now because you're spiritually burnt out, let's talk about what you're experiencing. Because we ain't even got on that. Because we talked about your internal of what you feel, but we haven't talked about what's actually happening. So let's go ahead and get into it. Number one, you probably are experiencing difficulty being vulnerable, and difficulty letting go. Oh, that's a beautiful bird sound. Y'all, I love birds so much. I just have to let them be when they start doing. I don't know if y'all can hear it, but I just love birds. I love freedom. So it's everything to me. But you're probably experiencing not the bird agreeing. I'm crying. You know what, baby? All praises to the Most High either way. But what you're experiencing is that you're having difficulty with vulnerability and difficulty with letting go. Now I'm gonna say something, and I am gonna do a YouTube video and record on this, but I'm gonna say this, and of course we all know what it says in Scripture when it comes down to smex before marriage, right? So when we're talking about the aspect, or smex in general, so when we're talking about the aspect of difficulty being vulnerable and difficulty letting go, this also relates to releasing in that manner, and it also about releasing in this manner. Women who often struggle to cry struggle to release in that manner as well. There's a connection there. And the reason why you can't do that is because you lack the ability to be vulnerable. You lack the ability to let go, which means that you put yourself in unsafe environments, and then you guard yourself in those environments, meaning you will lay down with people that you know you can't trust. See, let's get into the real of it. This is why you burnt out. You will lay down with people that you know you cannot trust, that you know you are not safe with, who you know are not good for you. And you will literally waste time, energy, and attention in those experiences and not even be able to release, because you were never safe in the first place. Because to be able to release means you have to be willing to abandon all of your guards. See, this is why women who have smexual relationships in the lane and in the covenant of marriage, who really are with men who they can abandon their guards with. I'm talking about men that they don't have to, shield who they are to. Those women consistently release, whether it's tears or down there, baby. It's not a problem. It's not an issue. It's not an issue when you're free to release. But y'all are out here doing things and still not releasing, literally wasting your creative life force energy just to not release, but to be stopped up with toxicity, to be stopped up to cause you womb issues. See, you do understand that experience is supposed to be pleasure and enjoyable for you as a woman, right? You understand that, right? But the reason why you can't enjoy that pleasure is because you're laying with a thief, baby. You're laying with someone who planned to poison your womb and steal your energy. And you think you're safe? And these are the people that you choose to lay with? Hey, love. But you're going to lay down with them and you're wondering why you're burnt out? No, you're not burnt out because that man is mistreating you, baby. No. You're burnt out because you already struggle to release, and you consistently put yourself in environments and in scenarios and in situations where you are unsafe because you are attracted to the thrill, because the thrill has been your childhood. So you like that up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Because steady feels foreign to you. Steady is boring to you. Peace is not enticing to you because you've never tasted it before. Okay? So what you're experiencing right now because you're burnt out is because, you have difficulty being vulnerable, difficulty letting go. And guess what? If you're a woman who can't release, then 9 times out of 10, you're a woman who does not reject. And if you don't reject, this is another thing that you're probably experiencing due to your spiritual burnout. Guess what you have? Lack of discernment and poor boundaries. Because you don't even know how to release. So you're going to lead me to believe that you know how to reject the wrong type of man entering into your experience, baby. You don't know how to reject the wrong type of man from your womb. You won't even make them come up. Do you understand that the womb is in a sacral space? And they are required, in order, they have, you, even when you, they have to come up into you. You understand that? Y'all don't make them come up. And that's crazy work. Y'all don't even make them come up. You just simply lay down and give your, and you wonder why you burn out. Okay, so what you're experiencing again is difficulty with vulnerability and letting go, and lack of discernment and poor boundaries. Oh, and I'm not done. Hold tight. You're also experiencing constantly feeling stressed and overloaded. You're constantly reacting rather than responding with clarity, because you're consistently blaming that man for not doing what it is that you want him to do, when he never did that from the get-go. You never made that a requirement, but you never should have dealt with him, because you really should have rejected him. But because you lack discernment and poor boundaries, and you just wanted to feel something, even if it was going to hurt your feelings, even though you can't release in that experience, you just going to let yourself feel it, because at least it's something. It puts me in the mind frame when you hear older women, or that old phrase that some older women have said, a piece of man is better than having no man. That's what it's giving. It's giving, I know that he goes and he does this, but he coming home to me. That's what it's giving. That's the energy that it's giving. It's giving you're a doormat. It's giving you don't know your value. It's giving you're disconnected from self. Don't you dare call yourself a queen when you lay down like a... Queens don't give their power away. That's not what they do. They don't give their power away. You've never in history seen a queen give her power away to me. You haven't seen it. You can't even nail it in the scripture. Even when it comes down to Queen Esther, baby, she used her power to stop a war from happening on her own people. And y'all out here giving your power. Don't piss me off this morning. Okay. What you're probably experiencing because you're burnt out. Let me come back, because I will go left. You probably aren't inspired. It feels like inspiration is out of your reach. You just feel very either bored or exhausted, or just not connected to anything creative. And you also may feel isolated or unsupported on your journey right now. All of these things link back to you being spiritually burnt out. Okay? Now that you know what you may be feeling, or you've identified what you may be feeling, maybe you feel like you can't receive, or you're not hearing from God right now. You're not getting divine guidance. You're not getting divine support. You're not feeling like you know what your next move is, and you feel like the world is going crazy. You may be feeling, anxious and having a lot of mental chatter that's keeping you up at night. You may be acting out impulsively or struggling to find balance, or you're having womb issues. We're having cycle issues, okay? Nobody seems to be there when you need them to be there, and you're not completing any of your goals. That's because you're spiritually burnt out. If you're struggling and you can't release, you can't reject, you have mental overwhelm, you have toxic responses, you lack creativity, you have minimal support in your life, there's a disconnect spiritually. Okay? Here are the things that need to be done. It's 4 things that need to happen. And I'm going to give you some real good game with this. I'm telling you what I had to do. Because I told you I had got to a point in my relationship with the Most High. Even the Most High blessed me with so much business, amazing, everything great. And I did not want to rap. I did not want to talk. Because I felt like I had spent every single day. And if for me now, I've spent almost every single day for 8 years with no days off. With disconnecting, with not communing with the Most High, at least in some form or fashion. Every single day I was completely burnt out. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to rap. I didn't want nothing. And I had to figure out what my problem was. Because how is it that the Most High allowed me to be able to do all these great things, but I don't even want to talk? I'm just over it. I had to do 4 things. And I'm going to tell you what these 4 things are. Number 1, I realized that my perception of the one that created me was wrong. I still was carrying my mother's perception. I still was carrying my church's perception. I still was carrying, my childhood training's perception of God. And that perception of God was still coming from a space of like, I gotta do this, obligation, instead of wanting to do this or even desiring to really commune. So I had to deconstruct my perception of the one that created me. You got to break down your old beliefs that are limiting your spiritual connection, because the Most High never changes. It's us that switch up. Because literally when I was like, I don't want to rap, Most High like, so is it you or is it me? Is it you or is it me? And when it came down to like, hold on, is it you or is it me? You really don't change. So what has changed with me? And what changed for me was I went from needing to knowing to, oh, this is a requirement, to, oh, reading and being, oh, this is just a routine. Oh, this is now a ritual. Oh, this, I'm now robotic. I'm now on autopilot while I'm in relationship with you. And oh, I'm getting restless. And if you've ever been on autopilot in a relationship, you know that that's dangerous. And the most dangerous thing that you can do is outsource your spirituality by being on autopilot in your relationship with the one that created you, because you're not really present. And if you're not really present, then what gets access to you? Because if you're not here, there are a lot of other entities that would love to jump and be here. So if you're checking out, then what's checking in? So the first thing that has to happen is that you have to deconstruct your perception of God. The second thing that has to happen is once you deconstruct your perception, you have to dissect your current perspective. You have to examine how your relationship is impacting your life. You really got to look at it for what it is. How is your view of this relationship impacting your life? How do you really see the one that created you? Do you see the one that created you as a dictator that wants to punish you? Then why would you ever want to come to somebody that every time you think you do something or something happens, you think something, that they want to punish you? You would never see them. You would never talk to them. You would not even want to, even be friends with someone like that. But that perception, where did it come from? And is that your perception? Is that your experience? If not, you need to dissect your current perspective. The third thing that needs to happen is once you've deconstructed your perception, once you've dissected your current perspective, you need to decide what needs to change. You need to identify the elements of your spiritual beliefs that need to be adjusted or eliminated. And I said what I said. See, if you have been told that all you need to do is read the 66 books in the Bible, and that's everything, you need to ask who told you that, and you need to ask why did they get rid of those other lost books, and did the Most High say do that? You need to start asking real questions. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. You have to start asking real questions. When people are telling you this is what you need to follow, this is what you need to do, you need to start asking why. When everyone is getting on the bandwagon of something, you need to be alarmed by that. Because anytime society starts promoting something real hard, you need to pay attention to it. Because it's an underline. We live in a society that lies to us all the time. When they want to gift you something, you need to remember there's never accept the free lunch. And if you are going to accept the free lunch, you better know that they always cost. I don't care what they say. The free lunch costs somewhere for somebody. It costs. And you really need to pay attention to that. So decide what needs to change, okay, in your spiritual framework. Determine a new approach. So this is you developing a fresh way to connect spiritually and redefine your relationship with the one that created you, because the one that you had, and I'm going to tell you something, this happened to me some years down the line. It's like, I'll get to that in a second. Let me finish this first. But define your new approach. Okay, so that you can redefine your relationship with the one that created you. And then the next thing that you're going to do is create new patterns, which you're going to use everything that you've learned from deconstructing your perception of the one that created you, dissecting your current perspective, deciding what needs to be changed and determining a new approach. You're going to use these insights to establish new habits that refill your spiritual cup and that sustain your spiritual growth, because that's what that's going to do for you. Okay, so what I just gave to you and said to you These are things that happen in any relationship, even in marriage. For people who've been married before, they understand this. So if you've been married before, I was married for 8 years. Around year 7, there's this thing called the 7-year itch. There's something that happens with the number of 7. The number 7 spiritually means and scripturally means the number of completion. But something happens year 7. It's like the veil falls completely off. Whatever has been happening through year 1 through 6, 7 is going to make you look at it and make you start making some real decisions about your life, right? So, and that may require you even using this type of process in your relationship and in your marriage. You may need to deconstruct the way you see marriage. See, this is how you see people get into a marriage and then they decide, you know what, we tried marriage this way, but it doesn't work this way. We've developed our own rules for our covenant and for our union. And see, a lot of people have a lot of judgments for people and how they choose to run their unions, but only those two people in that particular covenant and union know what is going to work best for them. So there are times in marriage where you have to deconstruct what you thought the relationship was going to be. You have to dissect the perspective that you had of marriage, because unless you've been married before, you don't really understand the difference between living with someone and being married to them. And I'll be transparent. I have lived with someone and I have been married to someone, and those are two different elements. Those are not the same thing. I don't care what people say. Oh yeah, we're just living together and it just went. No, it's not. Because there's a whole different set of legal responsibilities that come into play that you need to pay attention to. And your mindset of what you thought marriage was, especially if you were raised in the Disney generation where it was just love and everybody gonna peace and we just gonna be having smacks all the time and this and that. Life be lifing. They don't prepare you for the aspect of that. So your idea of marriage may need to be reconstructed. Your perspective may need to be dissected. You might need to decide what actually needs to change and determine a new approach and create new habits to sustain a healthier marriage. This is exactly what's happening. See, you're spiritually burnt out, and most people in marriages, they get burnt out because they get caught up in doing everything else and not sustaining the covenant. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. And so you have to start paying attention that if you don't honor and nurture and, the covenant, it's not going to be sustainable and you're going to burn out. So this is what is happening with people in their relationship with God, which is why your business is stuck. Is because you depended on God to push you out there to start this business. You depended on God to push you out there and, to bring forth all the clients and everything else that you've been getting thus far. And now you're in the season to where things seem to be uncertain all over the place because of what society is saying. And guess what? You didn't got so caught up in that to where you're so burnt out, you can't even function. You can't even do what you need to do. So if you were in that space, if you don't know how to do the things that I just talked about, if you don't know how to deconstruct your perception of God, it's okay. If you don't know how to dissect your current perspective of life because you don't know what to ask yourself, it's okay. If you don't know what changes need to be made and what elements need to be adjusted and eliminated from your spiritual journey so that you can have the freedom that the Most High speaks about and the peace that really surpasses our understanding, that I get it. It's okay. If you don't have a new approach, if you can't create new patterns, I get it. It's okay. This is why I'm having a masterclass. I'm having a masterclass on 10/22 at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. This masterclass is called, okay? It is, let me scroll back up. All right. It's called the Deconstruct and Fill Your Cup Masterclass. This is a burnout recovery class for emotionally overwhelmed entrepreneurs. I understand that y'all are stressed out. I understand that you are concerned about what's going to happen in economic times and crisis and all this stuff. I understand all of that. But you need to get back rooted in the truth. You need to get back grounded so you can still be showing up consistently and doing what you need to do. Here are the things that we are going to go over in this class how I'm going to support you. This class is $99. The reason why it's $99, y'all know I don't do a 2-figure class. I always do 3-figure classes. The reason why this is a 2-figure class is because next year is the year of 9. And scripturally and spiritually, the number 9, you hear the 9th hour. You think about pregnancy coming to a completion in 9 months. You think about the 9 fruits of the Spirit. The number 9 means finality. The number 9 means judgment. And what I am telling you is if you don't unlock yourself from this state of burnout. You think you've seen something right now. You think you're tired and exhausted right now. In 2025, they're not going to let the whoop off your back. I'm trying to prepare you and tell you now. You see the things that are happening, storm after storm after storm, this after this, people not having jobs, things continuing to go up, people losing their mind and turning into savages. You think you seeing something now? 2025 going to come in here swinging. Number 9 means judgment. This class is $99. This is so you can deconstruct and refill your cup. We're not just talking about burnout. We're talking about dismantling all the toxic spiritual beliefs that are keeping you in the cycle of exhaustion. Because the truth is, you're not exhausted by your behaviors. You're exhausted by your beliefs. And you're going to continue to be exhausted by your beliefs because you have no control over your mental space. The scripture tells you to take your thoughts captive, but you don't know how. And that's why you're overthinking all the time. And you're overthinking, which is a clear sign of your lack of faith. Because it tells you in scripture not to be worried. But what you doing worrying, and worrying weakens your immune system, which literally, and it does it because it weakens your spleen. And once your spleen gets so weak, it gets to the point to where it cannot work with the stomach, and now you got IBS. Now you have generalized anxiety disorder. See, all of these things come from your disconnection of your spiritual self and to your source. And it manifests as psychosomatic illnesses. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. I'm not telling you anything that, 1, I have not experienced, and 2, that I do not know, and 3, this is literally what I've been called to do. One of my modalities that I'm specialized in is energetic psychology. One of the first things that ends up happening when women come to work with me is that there's an area of opening of vulnerability that happens. They begin to pay attention to the symptoms in their body, and they begin to know when they get stressed exactly where it's going. Because I'm going to tell you something, that anger, that sadness, that overwhelm, that all that stuff, that is attacking your organs. Your emotions, by definition, is energy and motion, baby. And if you have negative energy and motion consistently circulating your body, you are setting up your body not to be safe. You are setting up your body not to be secure, and you are setting up your body not to be able to fight off all of the things that this world is doing to poison you, including giving you piss poor food and air quality and water. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. You're not burnt out because of what you're doing. You're burnt out because of what you believe, and belief impacts biology, and biology influences the way you behave. Y'all think these kids crazy just for no reason. When they eating hot chips for breakfast, they're eating chemicals for breakfast. See, let's talk about it. They're getting it on in here, and this light right here is messing with them. This is the first thing they're doing in the morning, and that light is throwing them off. You wonder why you can't sleep? The first thing you do is get up in the morning and look at this. That's why you can't go back to sleep, because that light is trained to keep you up. It does something. See, you don't even know. You don't even know what is being done to you. You're so busy worried about how I'm going to get money. You are money. But if you understood time, energy, attention, you would know that you're money, and you'd be able to create more of that. But you don't even know that you're currency, which is why you sell yourself at a cheap rate at these 9-to-5s. And you sell yourself at a cheap rate by discounting your prices because you need money fast, because you lack faith. And without faith, it's impossible to please. Impossible. That's why your manifestations aren't coming. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. That's why that's not happening for you. You're spiritually burnt out. Okay? So we're going to first deconstruct, all right, your perception of the Most High. That's number 1. So you've been taught to approach God out of fear and out of obligation. I get it. I have too. I grew up Baptist. I understand. Very action-based. But when you read the scripture, baby, this is the biggest thing right here. When you really start dissecting the code, which I like to call scripture because it is a code, and you might want to get the physical code in your hand before they start removing the codes and saying that it's a violation to have that code. But see, by the time that happens, the code should be tattooed on your heart. And if it's not tattooed on your heart, baby, guess what? You're going to be marked. Because you're not going to be able to deal with what is happening around you. You're going to submit to this because you're not going to believe the code, because you don't even have access to it. You don't know it. And it talks about how you're not going to be able to see the spirit. There are some people in the cosmos. See, this is in scripture. There are some people in the cosmos that are not going to be able to see the spirit of truth. The world It's known as the cosmos in the strong concordance, because in Greek, the cosmos means the worldly systems, or the people who choose to submit to this world. Those people are disconnected from their spiritual nature, which means they have no real power. Which is why y'all shouldn't get caught up in people in the world who have so much money, who have so much power. That's the only power they have. Poor people, that's the only power they have, is worldly power. That's secondary. You're a spirit being first. You're a spirit being having a human experience. Human power is secondary to spiritual power. This is why you've seen your favorite celebrities go down, because their physical power ran out. But see, the spiritual power, which is universal law, which is spiritual law, is going to always do what it do, because guess what? God is not mocked. For whatever a man reaps, you shall sow. And that's what you better know and you better understand. Spiritual law always is going to stand. It is always going to outrule human law. And that is what you have to get. So if you are getting spending all of your time in the human space, if you were spending all of your time exhausting yourself for other people and people pleasing and all of this type of foolishness, you are spiritually depleted. And you need to refill your cup. First, you need to deconstruct, and then you need to refill your cup. You need to be in a masterclass on the 22nd. It's $99. You can click the link in the bio. Yes, you can get a recliner affirming afterpay. No, I don't want to hear no excuses. If you cannot sacrifice going out and getting this class, if you can't sacrifice going out, if you can't sacrifice going to brunch to get yourself rooted, then baby, whatever happens in 2025, best of luck to you. Because I'm telling you, they're coming out swinging. They're coming out swinging with these storms. Y'all think just because these areas are not close to you that something is not coming to a city near you? You don't think, baby, you don't think the calamity is not, do you not realize the calamity is on tour? It just ain't made a stop to your house yet. Do you understand that? Calamity is on tour. The Most High's wrath is on tour, baby. And it's going to show up in the theater near you. And the key thing is that are you going to be prepared? Are you going to be able to hear? See, that's another reason with this masterclass why this is so important. People have been asking me, what should I do? Should I go and do this? Should I stack up on big cash? Should I do this? You make sure you can hear. That's what you do. You make sure you can hear spiritually. You make sure you're not so cluttered with piss poor beliefs that have you behaving in such a way that blocks your blessings, that you miss the mark, which actually means to sin. So you make sure you can hear. And you can't hear if you have these beliefs that are influencing you in this type of way. So it's time to unlearn those beliefs and replace them with a connection rooted in love, surrender, and trust in the one that created you. We're also going to dissect your current spiritual framework. Okay? We're going to dissect your spiritual framework in this masterclass. I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you the game on how to identify your subconscious patterns that's keeping you spiritually small. I'm going to help you do that. I got you. But yes, you're going to have to invest. I'm not giving it to you for free. I just gave you the process. I just gave you full-fledged game. The how-to, you're going to have to invest. And it ain't even about your money. It's about you, because the reason why I require you to invest your money is because where you spend your money, you're going to spend your time, you're going to spend your energy, and you're going to give me your attention. That's what I need to change your life. That's what I need to change, to teach you the process that's going to change your life. Not your money. The Most High pays me. I'm going to always get paid back. Bills going to always be on deck. It's been that way since I started this business, and it's because I operate from a space of obedience. The Most High is my boss. I don't need your change. I promise. And I don't even do 2-figure classes. I normally do 3-figure classes and above. It costs 5 figures to work with me one-on-one directly. So trust. It ain't about the money. The investment is about the test of you. And see, a lot of times we don't like to invest in things because we don't trust that we're going to follow through. That's why you cool with paying $15 to Planet Fitness, because it's just $15. But you letting them get their money every single month while you complain about how you don't have what you need. But yet you waste your investments. Okay? So, you got to make some decisions. You got to dissect your spiritual framework. Thank you, my love, for saying that. You have to decide what I'm going to give you the framework and support you in deciding what no longer serves your spirit. I'm going to teach you the process on how to take your thoughts captive, how to throw them back. The ones that don't belong, throw them out, baby. See, y'all be taking them. Now we thinking. Then we overthinking. Then we double overthinking. Now we emotional. Now we reactive. And we taking it out on people it don't even belong to. Take the thought. Compare it to truth. And release the thought. Okay? So it's extremely important, the things that I'm going to be breaking down in this masterclass. I'm also going to support you in designing a new approach to spirituality that actually pours into you. It's top, like, we're not doing this, oh, we just praying, we're just getting by, we're just doing whatever. No. Stop seeing the Most High as a dominant monarch, because I'm going to position you to see the Most High as your mentor. As your mentor. The masterclass is called, it's in the link, it's the link in the bio, it's called Deconstruct and Refill Your Cup. A burnout recovery class for emotionally overwhelmed entrepreneurs. It's $99. You can click the link in the bio to be able to get it. It's happening on 10/22 at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you purchase it, yes, you will get access to the replay and you will have it for life. And I'm telling you, the strategy that I'm giving you in here, not only is it going to elevate your relationship with the one that created you, but it's really going to elevate any relationship that you have in your life. Because guess what? You get married, let me tell you something, baby. For those who ain't never been, and for those who have been, y'all let them know. See, you're going to hit a point in your marriage where you're going to have to switch and change some things, and you're going to have to deconstruct from the idea of what you thought marriage was. Because you realize you didn't know nothing because you hadn't been married. So this process that I'm teaching you, this is something that you can carry over into your long romantic relationship. You can carry this into your friendships, because sometimes friendships need a deconstruction and a reconstruction. So I'm giving you a powerhouse strategy to elevate all of your relationships. And I'm doing all of that for just $99. So it's going to be extremely powerful. The hard truth of this is burnout is not a symptom. Well, burnout is a symptom. It's not really a problem. It's a symptom of you being spiritually burnt out. And burnout is not your identity. It's a wake-up call. So if you're feeling the things that I described, if you're experiencing the things that I said that, a lot of women are experiencing, then it's time for you to deconstruct and refill your cup. You're going to have to let some things go. But see, the thing is, and let me tell you something, I ain't going to give you nothing that ain't in scripture. I ain't. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to be able to go look at it for yourself. You need to know the one that created you for yourself, not by way of your mama, not by way of your friends, not by way of circumstance, by your own experience. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. That is when you truly begin to value your relationship with the one that created you. When you really begin to understand who the Most High is. And when you begin to realize who you are in that process, your gifts heighten. Your life elevates. The people who not supposed to be along, be with you, they're going to fall off. You're going to lose people. But the people that you're going to gain in the experience. Okay? But you can't keep running around here like this. You can't keep running around here being emotionally overwhelmed as an entrepreneur. You're not going to make no money. And like I said, for those who don't know me, my name is Elle Antoinette. I'm a feminine mastery architect. And my specialty, what I do is I support my amazing clients in this key area. Who are my clients? My clients are entrepreneur women. And I support these women in turning emotional overwhelm, because it happens in business, it happens in life. I support them in turning that emotional overwhelm into mastery and into revenue, into money. Period. That energy that you are wasting in that piss poor relationship that you weren't even supposed to be in anyway is really a seed that you can take that energy and use it as a seed so that you can exit that scenario that you put yourself in. Because a lot of stuff we put ourselves in due to the things that we believe, because we have the wrong idea about ourselves spiritually. We don't know ourselves. And we're not connected. We're connected to the cosmos. It tells you to not be of this world. It tells you to not be conformed of this world, to be transformed by the daily renewing of your mind. You can't be a part of this cosmos, because being a part of this cosmos, as i.e. these worldly systems, is to be disconnected from your spiritual source. And if you don't believe me, I'm just going to break it down for you. I'm just going to tell you. The corporate system is set up to disconnect you from your power source. How? Because they put you under a spell. Well, what spell did they put me under? They put you under the spell that makes you, number one, compete for a position. Number two, they put you in a position to sell yourself at a cheap rate, okay, at a low level. And then they tell you that you need to prove yourself in order to be promoted or approved by them. So when you do all of these things and you still end up short 30 years later, because they give you a pin or a cookie or a pizza party for all your hard work, your time, your energy, attention that you cannot get back, then you want to be pissed off, when in reality you need to be pissed at yourself, because it was the belief that made you stay there, thinking that you had to subject yourself to that type of treatment, that was the only way that you can make a way for yourself. But you believe that because you were under the corporate spell, instead of believing where it tells you in scripture, Proverbs 8 and 12, you have creative and witty inventions in your very being. Proverbs, again, your gifts will make room for you. Proverbs, again, don't chase wealth, because if you chase wealth, it will take up, it's like a bird, it will take up wings and fly away from you. These are the things that it's telling you. I call you, then I qualify you. These are the things that spiritually, this is who you are. Society tells you to audition for a role on this earth, to be important on this earth. The Most High says that you made it here, you're already important. But you choose to believe that you have to work. That's why you're a people pleaser. That's why you're a people pleaser. But you see, it's an oxymoron. You can't please the Most High and please people. And people are never pleased. We're never satisfied. That's just the way that we are. There is something in our heart that always tends to want more and to require more, even if we can't give more. So why would you submit to a system that was set up to put you under a spell, but not only put you under a spell, but keep you stagnant, knowing that when you sit stagnant, aka sedentary, that you're going to eventually get sick. So when you leave that job at 65 and your brain is basically rotted, because it's very hard for you to reframe your mind after the age of 60, which is why they keep you in that system, which is why you end up being depressed when you get out. You don't really know what to do. And this is why you see elderly people going back, trying to go back to the system and get a job after they left, because they don't know what to do, because that's been their programming. That's been their programming. And programming is nothing but belief. It's nothing but feeding you what I want, what I believe, what I'm feeding you what my vision is. That's why they call it television, because it's telling you a vision. You press guide because it's guiding you. It channel is because it's a flow. See, y'all not paying attention to none of that. And all of those things are impacting your beliefs, and all of those things are burning you out, because you are slowly but surely being disconnected from your spiritual source. So that's why no matter what you do in business, no matter what these tactics are and all these things, you ain't making no money, baby. You ain't making no money. You ain't seeing no return on your investments. You ain't seeing nothing happening. And it's because you're operating from a deficit, boo. So if you are operating from a deficit, you need to be a spiritual deficit. If you're physically burnt out, you're suffering from a spiritual deficit. You're spiritually depleted. You're running on fumes, and the body is going to break down eventually. Okay? If that's you, then you need to be in the Deconstruct and Refill Your Cup masterclass, and a masterclass, a burnout recovery masterclass for overwhelmed, emotionally overwhelmed entrepreneur women. This is going to support you and get you back on track, because you don't have time to be emotional in this season. Emotions got to go. You don't have time to be emotional with what's happening right now. You need to get in the spirit so you can get in alignment. You knew this time. You knew this was coming. Like, you didn't think this was coming in your lifetime. See, that's what you thought. That I thought that too. I was like, dang, I didn't think I was going to be here for all this. But I guess so. Here we are. Tonight we're here. Like, so you didn't think you were going to see these things happen in your lifetime. That's really your issue. So you're scared of it. You ain't new to this. You true to this. You just need to get back in alignment with that truth so you can start focusing. Because guess what? Even though all this stuff is happening and all this is going on, guess what? People are still making money. People are still closing deals. People are sitting in masterminds right now closing $40,000 a month, and you over here talking about something. You ain't got no money, you don't have no gifts, you don't know what to do, you don't know what your next step is, you got to go get another job, you got to go do this. Y'all better stop listening to this programming. Y'all better start paying attention to what actually is happening in your life, because it's wild times. It's wild times. What questions do you guys have for me? Like I said, you can click the link in the bio. The class is $99. And if you know me, you know I don't do no two-figure classes. I'm only having a certain amount of seats. So it's going to be first come, first serve when it comes down to these seats. So I suggest you go ahead and get in where you fit in. Because it is going to be a powerful class. I am probably going to turn around and resell it, but it's going to go in a bundle of something, so it won't be the same price point. It will be a 3-figure price point when it returns into something else. So click the link in the bio, make sure that you get access to this masterclass for $99, and drop your questions that you may have in the comments. You can ask me anything in regard to what we talked about today, or you can ask me anything in regard to the masterclass or any of the areas that I specialize in. Like I said, I support my amazing clients in turning emotional overwhelm into self-mastery, as well as into revenue, which they end up making more money. And this is something that I've been able to do for myself. I am what you call an alchemist. So I turn pain into progress and pleasure, baby. I do it for a living. I do it with a smile, and I love doing that for myself. What will be covered in the masterclass and how long it will be? I'm gonna go over this one more time. What's gonna be covered in the masterclass? The masterclass is gonna be the 20. No, you said how long? It's probably going to be about 75 minutes. That includes questions, okay? And it's called Deconstruct and Refill Your Cup. I'm going over, this is supporting women who are struggling with spiritual burnout. If you have physical burnout, it's because you're in a deficit spiritually, and you're probably depleted. And it's going to get to a point where the body's going to completely break down, and you don't want that. So I'm going to support you in deconstructing your perception of God, because a lot of us have a fear-based perception, which is why we don't approach, which is why we're faithless, which is why all of these things. I'm going to give you the tools to dissect your current spiritual framework that you're using, because apparently if your burnout is not working. I'm going to support you in being able to know how to look at what you need to eliminate and what you need to adjust that actually may be keeping you spiritually small. And then also supporting you with the tools to help you eliminate those things that no longer serve you. You're also going to learn how to create new habits and develop a new approach on how you're going to fill your spiritual cup every single day, because you're a spirit being having a human experience. So if you're experiencing burnout, it's happening from the spiritual root, and it normally is attached to a belief that's making you do whatever it is that you're doing, which is actually running you into the ground. So I am, in a sense, supporting you in completely reprogramming your mindset around the way that you see the one that created you, so that you can actually activate and operate from that space. And operating from that space has been able to support me in a multitude of ways, and it supports my clients in a multitude of ways. Okay, so that is the class, 75 minutes at max. And now, like I said, that includes questions and answers, and we're going to dissect this process, because we're doing a lot of subconscious and spiritual work in this class, and it's necessary because the issue is spiritual, but the location is in your subconscious mind. And if you don't know how to access it, if you don't know how to do that, you're going to have a very hard time reprogramming your mind. So what people are investing in is the process. So you're going to learn the process to be able to do this in any scenario, whether it is in your relationship with the Most High, whether it is in your marriage, whether it is in your romantic relationship, whether it is in a friendship. You'll be able to evaluate your relationships to make sure that you remain spiritually full. And you need to be spiritually full so you can have clear access and a clear channel to the one that created you. So if the Most High tells you to do X, Y, Z, you're not doubting what you need to do. You're just doing what you need to do. A lot of women do not trust themselves, and that's the problem. Y'all are being told to do certain stuff right now, and you ain't doing it because you can't hear, because you're listening to other people. And what's going to happen is, if you don't fix this thing before December 31st, before quarter 4 o'clock's out, Whatever cycle you're in, you're going to be locked into that going into 2025. And you need to ask yourself, the cycles that you continue to keep repeating, do you want to bring that into 2025? Because if you think you're emotionally heightened right now with inflation, with what's happening around the world, when I tell you the judgment that's coming, you gonna think 2020 was child's play. Folks need to wake up. People who are spiritually inclined and spiritually intuitive and hearing from the Most High are dreaming, are seeing, are hearing, are receiving instructions. And if you ain't hearing nothing, and if there's nothing being produced in your business, and you are not seeing any fruit, there is a disconnect. And you might need to deconstruct of what you thought and reconstruct and refill your cup. Okay? So if that's you, make sure that you are in that class on the 22nd at 6 p.m. Like I said, it's going to be $99. I don't do $99 classes. Y'all know me. But I'm doing this because we are entering into a year of 9, and spiritually, scripturally, that means completeness. Baby, some work gonna get complete in 2025. I'm trying to tell you right now. People didn't want to believe me in February when I was explaining that people were going to be losing their job like insane, like crazy. Now I have months later, people continuously coming back telling me how they should have listened and this happened, and now they want to get serious. Y'all need to get serious about whatever it is you're supposed to be doing. If you know you're supposed to start that business before you get fired, because that's what's going to happen. Start that business before they close them doors on you. And if you're already in business and you're not doing what you need to do and you know you can't hear, you need to be in this class. You need to be in this class. You need to be in this class. Okay? Any other questions? And today is the 9th. Period. On a good Wisdom Wednesday. Okay? I just heard this yesterday. Wow. All praises to the Most High. The Most High know He be putting me in y'all business. I don't be want to be. I just be obedient and say what I need to say, what I'm supposed to say. But I be want to mind my own business. So what other questions do you guys have? If there are no questions, I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Drop. What books do I read about? I don't read any books about energetic. I have a modality where I specialize in that. So I don't necessarily read any books. I study physics and I study energetics. So the things that I know and that I'm aware of, and plus I have a psychology degree. So the things that I know and I'm aware of are things that I've learned, I've acquired, and a lot of these things you really can find in scripture. If you want to understand energetics, you just need to read scripture from an energetic standpoint. So I would tell you first and foremost to seek scripture. And the second thing I would tell you is physics. But if you're not, and I'm also a metaphysics person, so if you're not, I'm kind of nerdy. So if you're not really into dissecting and doing all that, and I do reading, I read, dissect, read. So if you're not really ready to do that, you may not necessarily like my pathway. But I like to get to the root of things to make sure that my clients' issues are solved. Like, period. So that's very important to me. So I would recommend scripture, reading it from that standpoint. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. I would recommend physics, studying physics, and then I would recommend just studying human psychology on a very, very deep level. I don't necessarily have any key books. You know what? Well, no, I don't have one on energetics. I have one on thinking, on mindset, but I don't have one on energetics. And there's one on mindset you actually can get. I have a link in my TikTok shop for it. It's called Don't Believe Everything You Think. Actually, this one. Yep. This is really, really, really big. As far as mindset, it's in my TikTok shop right now. And it's really not, I think I want to say maybe like $12 or something like that. But you can click the link in my TikTok shop and get it. It's a really, 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 really great book. It supports you in ending your own suffering. Because a lot of our suffering is what's happening right here. Because we cause it. Interesting. I love a plant scientist. Come on now. You're welcome. Any other questions? Any other questions or comments before I get ready to let y'all go? And thank y'all so much for being here. I appreciate it. And congratulations to those who've gotten their tickets already, because I see the ticket sales are coming in. So congratulations to those who've gotten their tickets to the class on the 21st. Like I said, it's going to be limited seats. When they sell out, they sell out. I'm not doing a whole lot of tickets. So first come, first serve. If you're serious, then you're serious. You can get them with Klarna, Affirm, and Afterpay. So yeah, I think that's it, guys. I don't have anything else. I hope that y'all have an amazing, amazing Wednesday, Wisdom Wednesday. Should you guys have any questions, any concerns, anything, make sure that you email me. Make sure that you're following me on my YouTube channel at FemRe.L. And you click the link in the bio to be able to access any of my products and services. But y'all need to be in that class, though. I know that. All right. Y'all have a great one, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Thank you so much. Peace, y'all.